Good morning, friends. Happy Monday. Here's your Monday Minute.
Hey, happy summer, friends. You may not be used to somebody else doing the intro, but we're just, mixing it up a little bit for some of our summer episodes. So get excited, roll with it. We're going to do things a little bit different. So today I invited my best friend. This is Callie. And Callie and I met in 7th grade.
Volleyball tryouts.
We were the new kids and became fast friends. We wanted to talk about relationships because I think in general right now, relationships, and we're going to kind of steer obviously in the friendship direction since we are friends. But relationships kind of look a little bit different right now, especially with COVID going on and not only social distancing, but quarantining and, maybe you haven't really gotten to see your friends at all. Our friendship has gone through some really different stages, whether it's really close together, whether it's really far apart. She's in Malaysia, I'm in Colorado, and then in different phases of life. So we have kind of covered a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. I think what it comes down to is trusting our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So trusting that we're going to fight for it and be vulnerable and kind of trust that you still see me, I still see you.
Yeah.
And when it gets really hard, knowing like, okay, I have enough trust and we have enough of a foundation that we'll come back to each other when it feels hard or awkward or weird. If anything weird is happening, I feel like that's one normal, but I don't think a lot of people talk about that.
Totally.
So knowing we're going to come back to each other and we trust our friendship enough, and if there's not enough trust, trying to build that back up. So I think that kind of is.
No, I think that's such a good point. I feel like that can take a lot of vulnerability because to trust somebody is to trust that they're going to see you in moments of whether you're, in a good spot or a hard spot or a bad spot. It's trusting that somebody's still going to choose you. In those moments. And so it can be really vulnerable. And I think our history helped kind of create that foundation, in my opinion.
Yeah, it did.
We had history to build that. And so I think something for you all to be thinking about is who are the relationships in my life that I really do trust, and who do I believe might keep choosing me over and over and over again. When things get hard, when you get distant, when things are really good, who's going to keep choosing me? And for you to also think about who do I want to keep choosing, because it's such a mutual thing, I think the fact that our friendship is where it is because we both decided to choose the other person. And it can be really hard when maybe one person's investing more than the other person is. And so you kind of have to navigate that a little bit. But I want to talk about COVID because that is a very new and different thing for all of us. I don't think any of us have known really how to navigate friendships through COVID. So how would you say COVID has been in general, not just our friendship, but for multiple friendships for you?
I think, it kind of threw everyone for a curveball with almost an instantaneous stay in your house. And so, that cut off, childcare for in-laws and friends and mom friends and kind of lifelines to get through my day as a mom right now, taking care of a very active 1-year-old. And so I think reaching out, being really intentional has been a lifeline and something that I wasn't good at in the very beginning. I could tell I was feeling far away or distant, or I need my people, and I can be a really social person. I feed off of the energy of people. And whereas my husband, who is total introvert, was like, I'm doing great. I'm like, I'm not. So I think once we kind of started doing Zoom calls and writing letters to friends, I was getting more letters than I've received in a while.
Awesome.
Trying to be really creative. I sent, my friend in Seattle, her daughter, a book because I was like, I know that you're probably struggling and you need something to do with your child. And I think just getting really creative has helped.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't replace one-on-one being with someone in the flesh, but I think being really intentional was kind of the only option.
Yeah. Something that I think COVID has also created in relationships is, like, I think all of us are going through some type of grieving because of what the world looks like, and then the limitations that is creating for us. And for some of you, maybe grief is kind of like a really extreme word, but ultimately I think that's how some of it has felt. And even in those beginning weeks, like as you talked about, just feeling so overwhelmed and fearful, I wonder if some of those feelings in there were just grieving, whether it's like grieving that we don't get to go on this trip anymore, or grieving like I don't get to call up my people and go have happy hour and things like that. And so I wonder if some of the quietness that we've been experiencing in friendships is just being in our own process of grieving, and almost just that like acceptance piece of this is what it is. And I don't know, what do you think?
I definitely think there's an element of grief added to canceled plans, canceled trips, shifting something that maybe feels in a harder way. I don't know. Not being able to get out of the house. I'm saying something like very much in my own experience, but in the very beginning of quarantine, I put a tiny sticky note on my refrigerator and it said, trying to do this daily. One thing I'm thankful for, one thing I'm hopeful for, one thing I'm grieving. And I was trying to do that every day.
That's so good.
Because it's such a mix. I mean, it's grieving. I mean, you have to cancel 3 trips. I can't get out and go to the park with my rambunctious 1-year-old, and that's hard. And just the very simple things felt like I was grieving. And I know a lot of people are probably grieving really big things too, but trying to keep it a mixed bag and try to be like, well, I'm thankful that like we went to Costco yesterday and we got everything we needed, or,
totally.
Just the little things. And so I think, I don't know if that touches on it, but.
No, I love that. Well, and I think being intentional about that helps you to name it, which ultimately creates some acceptance, ultimately, of just saying like, okay, here's what it is. Here's what I'm sad about. And acceptance doesn't mean, justification or that it's fine or that it's good, but just like acknowledging where it's at. And so
naming it helps.
Yeah. I love that you like put that really in front of you as you were in your process, And I think that, I love that. And I feel like that is a challenge to all of us. Like, take a sticky note and put it on your fridge and, think about one thing you're grateful for, one thing you're hopeful for. Is that what she said?
One thing I'm thankful for, one thing I'm hopeful for, one thing I'm grieving.
Yeah. Because the good and the bad are all mixed together. And so that is what I kind of want to leave you guys with is, can you hold those things together, and can you invite your people into that? Can you have conversations about what you're excited for, what you're looking forward to, what you're really sad about? I think conversations like that create trust, open up vulnerability.
Vulnerability breeds vulnerability.
Boom. That's so true. It's so stinking true. And when you are willing to open up about things, I'm much more willing to open about things, and like vice versa, And so then it goes back to, well, yeah, she's willing to be vulnerable with me and I want to be vulnerable with her. So yeah, I'm going to choose her, and yeah, I'm going to show up when she's having a hard day. And yeah, like, you're my person. Yeah. So that's the challenge. Do you have people in your lives who are like that? Maybe start looking for people in your lives if you don't have those kinds of people. I don't think it's ever too late to find and foster those relationships in your life. Like, it doesn't have to be a 7th grade friend. It just so happens that we have that. But yeah, I think there's always opportunity to meet people who can see you and choose you and go into the good parts of life and the ugly parts of life. So
what?
She's taking us out, guys.
Friends, get yourself to Friday. Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah. We'll see you back here on Monday.
That was awesome.
I couldn't remember the last part.
Yeah, totally fine.
That was so good.